This weekend with the half marathon training team, we're officially getting into our long runs. So we're starting to get into those runs that are over 90 minutes. And with those longer runs, there are a few considerations that you have to take in place. So we've been kind of talking through that with the half marathon training team this week, and I wanted to let you in on a little bit of that information. So I'm going to go over the three big main considerations that you need to consider when you're going to be running either a long run or a race that's over 90 minutes. So the first thing that we have talked about this week is clothing choices. So you're going to want to wear something that is lightweight and well ventilated. You're going to want to avoid cotton and opt for dry fit materials like nylon or polyester. That means your socks, you're going to want to avoid all cotton socks. Pick a nylon or a polyester sock. There are some more running specific brands like Features, but you can also find them at Target or Old Navy or Walmart or on Amazon. Any generic brand can do. The next thing is going to be your pants. So it is kind of getting into shorts weather here in North Carolina. So once it gets into short season, I like wearing biker shorts. I like something that is going to be tight on the inside of my thighs to avoid chafing. If you are not a big biker shorts kind of gal, you can opt for another short and wear something like Body Glide to prevent chafing as well. And then shirts, also going to want to opt for a lightweight, well-ventilated material, something that is polyester, nylon, a dry fit material as well. When you're getting dressed, you're always going to want to check the weather and see what the temperature is going to be throughout your run. You're going to want to dress about 10 to 20 degrees warmer than what the temperature says. So if it's going to be cooler and then gradually get warmer throughout your run, pick out some layers. And it is also one of my biggest tips is you'd rather be cold for the first little bit than get too hot. And if you are choosing between wearing a jacket or wearing pants, consider the fact that if it gets warm a mile or two into your run, you're going to have to run the whole rest of the time carrying that sweatshirt. So I would rather be a little bit colder for the first little bit than have to run with a sweatshirt tied around my waist for 6 more miles. So that is the first thing. Then the second thing that you're going to want to consider when you're going for a run that's over 90 minutes is hydration. So during a longer run, you're going to want to make sure that you are properly hydrating before, during, and after your run. So for about 2 hours before your run, you're going to want to drink about 70 to 20 ounces of water. Then once you get into your run, every 10 to 20 minutes, you're going to want to drink about 7 to 8 ounces. And then after your run, you're going to drink about 16 to 24 ounces for every pound that you lost during your run. So you can use your sweat rate to calculate this. For during your run, there are a couple of great options for hydrating during a run. These are a couple that I have. I have a hand bottle. This is a great option. You can kind of hold on to it, and then you have some spots to store maybe your keys or your fuel during your run. These run about $25 to $30. You can get them on Amazon. You can get them at local running stores, places like REI. And then the second option is one that I don't have, but it is a running belt that has water bottles on it. Typically that has 2 bottles. It's about the equivalent to this. It could be a little bit more, a little bit less, depending on the brand that you get. It just gives you the option to have it around your waist rather than have to deal with it on your hands the whole time. And those typically run about $20 to $30. And then the last option is going to be a hydration pack. This is going to hold more water than the other 2 options. So that is a better option if you're going on a longer run when you're going to need more water. It also allows you to free up your hands while you're on your run. These are going to run about $50 to $100, but it's worth it for sure if you're going on a longer run or if you need more water in there. My number one tip for using either of these options or a belt as well is when you are filling it up, fill it up either the night before your run or a couple hours before, just with water, and stick it in the fridge That way you have chilled water, because I have had one, which is too many, encounters where I thought it was smart to put ice in either, and then you have to run while obnoxiously listening to your ice hitting against the side of your bottle. I got super self-conscious about it. I knew other people could hear me running with that, ice shaking around. I could even hear it over my headphones. So 0 out of 10 recommend doing that, but filling them up and having cold water is a great option. And then the third thing that you're going to want to think about when you're running longer than 90 minutes is nutrition. So your body can only store enough carbs for about 90 minutes of exercise. So after that, you're going to need to refuel to avoid bonking or feeling like you're hitting a wall during a run. So you're going to want to start eating about 15 to 30 minutes into your run, and then fuel every 15 to 30 minutes after that. So one of the biggest mistakes that people make is waiting until it's too late to start fueling. It takes your body a little bit of time to kind of break down your food into usable energy. So you don't want to wait until it's too late. Make sure that you're starting early. And it's also easy to get kind of caught up in your run and to forget to fuel. So one of my biggest tricks and tips is to set an alarm on your phone for every 15 to 30 minutes, depending on what you decide on. And so that'll go off and remind you to fuel and hydrate. One of the biggest questions out there about eating or fueling while you're running is, what are you supposed to eat? So simple carbs are your absolute best friend during a long run or a race. This is what your body can quickly and easily digest for fuel to give you quick energy. This can come in the form of sports nutrition like Tailwind or Honey Stinger waffles. There's plenty of others out there. This could also come in the form of real foods, applesauce pouches, and clearly gummy bears are my go-to. I have this 4.5-pound bag of gummy bears ready to go for my half marathon training. But what you choose to eat during a run really depends on personal preference. If you have something like a hydration pack, it's a lot easier to store bigger things in there. If you're running with a handheld bottle or a waist pack, it's harder to store larger things in there. Things like Tailwind, you just pop this into your water. So if you struggle with actually eating food during a run, this kind of gets you to kill two birds with one stone by putting it in your water, and it has a good number of carbs in it. It also really depends on kind of what agrees with your stomach. I don't do super well with some of the sports nutrition like Goos or the Cliff Blocks. Those upset my stomach, so I try to stay away from those. So it's really an experimentation of what kind of works for you, what you like, and what kind of helps you feel fueled throughout your runs. So you're going to want to try those on your first couple of longer runs, so that as you get into those longer runs, as well as your race day, you're not kind of blindsided by stomach discomfort. And then the last question about nutrition is, how much should you be eating? So you should get about 0.32 to 0.45 grams of carbs per pound of body weight per hour. So that is kind of a big calculation, but it's something that you can kind of figure out which range works best for you, which foods work best for you, and how often works best for you. So those are my 3 biggest tips of things to consider when you are preparing for a run over 90 minutes.